As the sun rises over the tragic incident that took place in George, the focus now is shifting from a rescue to a recovery mission. More than 48 hours have passed, well over 50 actually, since the incident occurred. Despite the tireless efforts of more than 200 emergency workers, the death toll still stands at 8, with around 38 people yet to be found. SABC News reporter Lwando Nomoyi is part of our team, still watching developments close to the site. He joins us now live. And Lwando, that's the real concern now, isn't it? Certainly a somber state of affairs where you're at, given the fact that that 72-hour window before people ultimately are presumed dead is fast approaching.
Well, indeed, Ayanda, it is fast approaching. As you've stated, that we are on hour 66 now of this search and rescue mission. So we are looming to that deadline in terms of international standards. Then it will turn into a search and recovery. But behind me, as you can see, they're using heavy machinery. So they've kind of upped the ante now, using, the bulldozers to try and remove these concrete slabs. You would understand that these people are pinned down close to over 3,000 tons of concrete. So it is quite a pressing situation and very critical to recover those. We've also seen the families, they've been here since Monday, and the frustration is there. We can see the frustration is there from the various family members, and some of them just trying to get some kind of solace. But we do also understand that later on today, Minister of Employment and Labour, Thulas Nxesi, will also come down to the province and brief the media, as we've seen his inspectors from the Department of Employment and Labour, crisscrossing this site as well. Ayanda.
Perhaps you can take us through, Lwando, what we know to have taken place overnight. I mean, the figures from where we stand appear to have not changed much. 8 people still sadly found dead or declared dead. Has there been any kind of effort in at least locating people who are still stuck under the rubble?
Well, Ayanda, those efforts still continue in terms of locating people who are still trapped under the rubble, as we've just stated as well, that 8 people are sadly deceased, and we do also understand that 16 are still in a critical condition in hospital. And now we do have the latest update that 81 people were actually on site at the time of the incident. So now for the number of unaccounted people, that has actually risen to 44.
There had been reports in the past of information not getting to the affected family members quick enough. I remember the question being posed to Alan Winde, the Premier of the Western Cape, who emphatically pushed back against that perception. Have you had any opportunity to speak to some of these family members? What are they saying about how things have unfolded?
Well, indeed, Ayanda, we have spoken to some of them, and information is getting to them on an hourly or 2-hourly basis. They are getting enough information, because we had also had to ask them that question, that are they frustrated in terms of not getting enough information. And as I approach them, they also know the number of people that are unaccounted for. There's a list going around. So at this very moment, although emotions run high, they are updated by the authorities on the side.
Yeah, the tactic to get to those who might still be alive, as you've mentioned, has already changed. You spoke about heavy machinery that's now being used. I wonder if, Lwando, you can give us a sense of what is taking place visually there as you explain to us what the strategy is moving forward. I mean, the big concern, of course, is that there are 3,000 tons of concrete that some of these workers have to get through.
No, most definitely, Ayanda, now they had to just up the ante, because you can see that it's no longer the use of conveyor belts or shovels. They have to use the heavy machinery, because that 72-hour deadline is looming. So you would understand, as you stated, that it's over 3,000 tons of concrete. So it's quite a lot of ground to cover. As you can see, the structure behind me, this was a multi-story building, with almost 4 to 5 floors. But now it doesn't even have a first floor. So this is really a mountain to climb for rescue workers here. But they have been working for close to 66 hours now, trying to retrieve those that are trapped under this rubble. Ayanda.
Yeah, unconfirmed reports, Lwando, about the use of the building as it was being constructed. I mean, we're hearing that It might have been an apartment block with a couple of units. And part of what complicates this effort is that there was quite a massive underground parking, right? Which means as it caved in, some of that material may very well have gone some way beneath the surface of the earth.
Indeed, that is correct, Ayanda. With 66 parking bays, it was going to be an apartment block. So you are indeed correct that, it has caved in. Even the picture that we're actually showing you right now, even the heavy machinery that they're using is slightly below ground level. So it is quite a lot to actually remove all of these concrete blocks, and they have got, reinforced steel. So it's quite a mountain to climb and a race against time as well. However, officials are on the ground. We've seen them here, and the community of George as well. We need to give credit to them as well. Trying to assist where they can in terms of deploying volunteers, deploying the machinery if there are construction companies who have machinery to deploy, and to assist in this tragedy.
Yeah, until this point, Lwando, we'd been speaking of people in numbers. 44 still missing, 8 have died, 81 were at the site itself. I wonder to what extent the stories around who these people are starting to emerge. Are we getting any sense of who the individuals are, how old they were, what their own kind of connection to this particular structure was?
No, most definitely. This is actually the 4th day now these operations have been ongoing, and those that are in hospital and those that are also green or had minor injuries have been identified. But those that are still in critical condition, it's a very sensitive matter, in terms of identifying them. But we had spoken to some of them. I spoke to a construction worker that works here, and he said that one of his cousins, is pinned down under here. But in terms of the names, we don't have that information at the moment.
Right, fair enough. Lwando Nomoyi, thanks very much indeed. An important story, one which we're certainly fixed on throughout the course of the moment when this incident was actually taking place. It's been 4 days, as Lwando has mentioned there, since that structure, that multi-story building caved in, and still there are so many unanswered questions around what exactly happened moments before the structure caved in. I mean, no matter how you see this, we don't live in a country where stories like this happen quite often, as is the case, sadly, in other parts of the world. And so there's going to have to be serious questions asked around what made this particular moment exceptional in that sense.